difference is that after your funeral, if you're going to be cremated, you would not go to the cemetery.
That's it.
That's it. The funeral procession does not go to the cemetery.
That's the only difference.
That's the only difference. At Golden Gate, you can be cremated and still have a traditional funeral service.
So I can still have my wake at my church.
Yes, sir.
My family can still come see me in the casket of my choice.
Most definitely.
You can still have on your
Everything
favorite dress, your favorite pink dress, your favorite white dress. You can wear your hat, whatever you wanted to wear. You can have your flowers.
Everything.
Everything.
Programs going to be passed out.
Programs be passed out. You can even go to the cemetery. Your remains can go to the cemetery and be buried.
You can even be buried even if you're cremated.
If you're cremated,
right.
Because a lot of people say, well, I'm not going to be cremated because I already own a plot.
You can
still
have
be
a
buried.
headstone and
That's
everything.
right. Still be buried in that plot. What if I'm a veteran and I want to be buried at the National Cemetery? Can I still be cremated?
Yes,
Yes,
you can.
yes.
Cremated and
Buried at the National
National Cemetery.
Yes, sir.
Isn't that something, y'all? Because
You have the flag and stuff presented to you just like they do at the regular service.
So we have no reason to be afraid of
Cremation.
cremation. It's just another choice of disposition.
That's it.
It's equivalent to being entombed. It's equivalent to being buried or cremated. It doesn't stop the type of services my family can still
That's
have
right.
for me.
No,
Right.
it doesn't.
Does that raise my IQ at this point?
Yes,
y'all?
yes.
Am I a little
Yes.
smarter now?
Yes.
Now, we're asked this quite often. If I pass away from a homicide, and not that I caused my own death, but, you know, just unfortunately I was killed by someone, will the state pay for my funeral, Pastor Body?
Well, the state would pay up to $4,500.
40. Now, the state is going to give my family up to
$4,500.
Okay, so that may pay for my funeral if I get a funeral that's $4,500.
Yes, that doesn't include your cemetery.
Okay, it's just up to $4,500,
Up to
and you can use that $4,500.
For however you want to budget that money out for your funeral.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So that's not saying they will pay for it. It's just saying we're going to give you $4,500
Toward it.
toward your service. Now, Queen, everybody doesn't qualify for that $4,500. Is
That's
that correct?
It has to be a crime victim and an innocent. The individual that's deceased or whatever cannot.
I can't be robbing a bank.
Right, you can't be robbing
I
a
can't
bank.
be doing something that would cause my own death.
Doing something illegal.
Okay.
And get those funds.
If
And
I'm out there selling drugs and I'm killed by a rival drug dealer or
and you
something
have
of
to be
that sort.
qualified. I mean,
Okay.
you go to the state and then they have to make the decision whether or not they're going to give you the money.
So it's not guaranteed.
It's not guaranteed.
So we still saying get a pre-need.
Pre-need.
Most
Yes,
definitely.
Get some
yes,
insurance.
yes.
Right.
Get a will in place because it's not guaranteed that the state is going to bury
Bury
you, even if you pass away from a homicide. We thank God for that program. And that program has been very helpful,
To some
especially
families,
in
right.
our community.
Sure has.
But that's not something that we should be banking on.
That's
That's
right.
right.
That's
We're
right.
talking about banking, y'all. We got to put somebody on those accounts.
Accounts,
don't we?
yes, sir.
Let's raise that IQ when it comes to that.
Payable up on debt.
Okay.
Means that you have designated a certain individual on your account to come in and get the funds that you have in your account so that you can be used for your funeral's purposes, if that's what
So
it is
if
for.
I pass away, I need somebody else on that account that can only get that money when I pass
Pass
away.
away.
Only when you pass
They don't have
away.
access to my money
Not while you're yet
while I'm still living. So important that we get that across.
That's real important, too,
Okay.
to people that maybe have more than one account. You got multiple accounts, and that means that you could probably have several different people, several children. You got several children, maybe you can just put one of each or payable upon death on each account.
But whatever you do, you don't want to have
Nobody.
on.
That's
it.
right.
We don't want the state or a judge making a decision on where your money goes.
That's
You
right.
should make
that
That
decision.
that
decision.
decision. What's the difference, y'all, between a funeral director and embalmer? I know as a lay person, as a person who's watching this show, some people think that's one and the same. Pastor Bob, you've been around funeral services for over 20 years. What is the difference between a funeral director, or is there a difference between a funeral director and embalmer?
There is a difference, Brother John,
Okay.
because an embalmer is only licensed through the state of Texas to do the actual embalming process.
So he actually preserved the body.
That's
He actually
it.
disinfected the deceased person.
That's the only job that the embalmer can do at the funeral home, where the funeral director can make your funeral arrangements, he can dress your loved ones, cosmetize your loved one, place them in the casket, direct your funeral, where an embalmer is only licensed to be in the embalming area to go with the preserving of your loved one.
So you're saying an embalmer cannot make funeral arrangements with
No,
you?
sir, the embalmer
So if he
cannot.
says I'm a licensed embalmer, he can't make funeral arrangements for you.
No, he cannot.
If I'm a licensed embalmer, I can't carry out your funeral service.
No, sir.
No.
But a licensed funeral director can.
Yes.
Can do
So
it.
there is a difference in the two.
Yes, it is.
And I'm pretty sure as many people watching Queen probably didn't know that.
Right.
So I'm hoping.
That the bar has been raised. Only I can.
Now we get into these casket choice. Now, Queen, we know that we can sell you a service for half the price of the national average.
Right.
But there are some people who really want a nice service. And they're so confused. There's so many different caskets out there to choose from. So as asked to undertake a show, it's our job, it is our duty to help them on what's the difference in this price of these caskets. What makes the difference in the price of a casket?
The funeral director of the
Okay.
funeral home, they make the difference because they're all either a Batesville casket or a Matthew casket.
Okay.
Those are the two #1 casket companies.
So you're saying if
the
you
quality
choose,
is the same.
if you choose Golden Gate Funeral Home, you're still going to get a Batesville casket.
Right.
You can choose my competitor and pay sometimes 2 or 3 times more
Exactly.
for the exact same
Same casket.
made by.
Exact
Bates-
same.
No, we're not talking about something you done bought from China somewhere. We're not talking about some bootleg internet something. We're talking about actually manufactured right here in the United States by the best manufacturers in the world, guaranteed by this company. Everybody is offering the same units,
Yes, sir.
but you're saying that there's different prices according to the funeral director, Queen?
That's right. The funeral home owner.
That makes a big difference.
And the good thing about Golden Gate Funeral Home, they're family owned and operated, so
That's what
we
we are.
regulate our prices. We're not governed by a conglomerate or a corporation.
Okay, that comes in and say, we have to make so much profit this month. This is how much
Right.
we have to charge in order to do this and do that. Golden Gate Funeral Home, we don't make that decision that way.
That's right.
We do what's best for
the families.
our families. Now, Pastor Body, every casket at Golden Gate Funeral Home is not the same price.
No, they're not.
They start at $475, and they can go all the way up to $30,000, and they both serve the same purpose.
That's right.
They both house the deceased person. What would make a $29,000 difference?
The actual material that the casket is made out of.
Okay.
There are metal caskets. There's precious metal, and then there are your what we would call your precious stainless steel casket.
Okay. So we have a premium stainless steel, which is what we would call a precious metal.
Right.
And then we have metal, what we call regular metal caskets.
Then there's the wood.
And then you can purchase a wood casket
Wooden
as
casket,
well.
that's right.
So it just really depends on what that casket is made of.
Right.
And that can make a big difference in prices.
It also depends on the interior, too.
Now, you're saying there's some interior that's more expensive.
Right, like the velvet, I think is probably the more expensive as opposed to the crepe.
Okay,
Yes.
so I get a crepe interior, which looks very nice,
looks
but it's
nice.
not as expensive as a...
Velvet.
Probably not as
Velvet
comfortable as the velvet.
No one has ever came back and told us.
Oh, that's how, yeah.
And also, Brother John, even the exterior shell.
Okay,
Because
what
there's
the way it's shaped.
Yeah, there's a round shell and then there's the square shell
Okay.
of the casket, and even the hardware. Some are swinging hardware and some are stationary.
Now, when you say hardware, just for those who don't work in our services, we're talking about the handles
The handles on the casket.
that you actually see. And then some are custom made.
Right,
We can
right.
put birds on it, we can put mother on them, we can put angels on it. Some are interchangeable, and you could actually take some home with you
That's
That's
right.
right.
at the end of the service. So that can
right.
make a difference price-wise.
Yes, it does.
So it really depends on the amount
That you want to spend.
that you want to spend. There's a budget for
Everybody.
everybody. Okay, I got a good question for y'all. Does a deceased person have to be buried 6 feet underground? They done made a movie about it. They had a whole sitcom on 6 feet under. Pastor Body? Let's put him on the spot, Queen. Do I have to be buried 6 feet under the ground?
No, Brother John, as long as your cement box or vault or your casket is at least 18 inches under the top of the ground.
So we're saying, regardless of what you put me in, it has to be at least 1.5 feet under the ground.
That's right.
So you can't have a shallow grave in the state of Texas.
No.
But I don't have to be.
6 feet.
6 feet.
So where'd that 6 feet under come from? Yeah.
I think that was a long time ago, Mr.
Maybe a long
traditional,
time
Yeah,
ago.
traditional thing, yeah.
And I can tell you, in order to get at least 1.5 feet under the ground, a casket is normally about 3.5 feet tall.
Right.
So it just made sense for them to go down 6 feet.
feet,
Yeah.
Because
right.
if you go 6 feet down, it just makes sure that the top is going to be at least a foot and a half above the ground.
Right.
And that's where that 6 feet under came from.
Okay.
So I hope that helps
Our
somebody.
knowledge is going up.
Our knowledge is going up. Our IQ is going up.
Yes, sir.
Well, let me ask you this. Who has the right to bury or cremate somebody in the state of Texas, Queen? Who has that right?
I would say the next of kin.
The next of kin.
But your decision as the deceased trumps it all. You make the decision. You can do it before death.
So you're saying, if I'm married, that I have more say than my wife over
If
what
I want to
happens
be
me.
cremated and he doesn't want me to be cremated,
Right.
I can put it in my will and I can actually go get a pre-need with cremation on it and have that line signed, and my husband can't change it.
He can't change it. I better make
No.
sure he don't see it because he might. Make sure he put it in the. It might get burned before I get burned. Pastor Eaton, do you find that amazing that the deceased person speak louder than the next of kin?
Yes, really, that's bringing up my IQ.
Okay.
Because I really thought the next of kin had the final say-so.
Okay.
But the deceased party has the final say-so.
And we hear people say all the time, I don't care what you say, what you do, I'm going to do what I want to do with you anyway.
But they can't.
They can't, can
They can't.
They cannot.
Who has the last word is
Me.
you.
That's
You
right.
decide
Yes.
what you want done to you. You decide how much money you want to
What to
spend.
spend.
You make the decision so your family doesn't have to.
That's right.
Or you make the decision because you don't think they're going to make
The right
the right
decision.
decision.
That's
so
right.
what you want to do is call the queen a pre-need win, y'all.
Right
Immediately.
Today.
Right now,
Yes.
today. If it's 5:30 in the morning, you need to call the queen. Wake her up, right? She's up waiting on you. Her cell number comes
I
right
am.
across
I'm
the
woke,
screen.
y'all.
She's waiting on you at 5:30 in the morning. And y'all call in every Saturday morning to Heaven 97. That's 9:70 a.m. on your dial at 10 o'clock a.m. And we'll answer any of the questions that you may have. And watch us every Saturday night right here on channel 47.2 at 7 o'clock p.m. and every Sunday morning, y'all. At what time?
5:30 a.m.
5:30 a.m. on channel 21. And we want to do everything we can to bring up the funeral home IQ, not only for those who watch us, those who listen to us, but anyone that may have to be in a position to have to make funeral arrangements. May God bless you. May God keep you is our prayer. We are stepping up the level of our services. Our goal is to treat your loved ones with the respect they deserve. We are taking our services to new heights. We are stepping in a new direction. Step into the new millennium with Golden Gate Funeral, where service begins and never ends.